Hello, Patriots. Segment 243 today. And I'm titling this one, Redistricting States is Just a Band-Aid. Don't get me wrong. For you out there that may prejudge, I don't have an issue with redistricting at all. When the census is taken, that's the time to go in and do whatever redistricting that needs to be done to do it. That's the time. We're 2 years into the census right now, and all of a sudden, we're doing a whole bunch of redistricting in a bunch of states, which, again, I don't know if they're just doing it to do it or what their idea is. While it's true, there are states like Florida, Tennessee, Indiana tried it. There are other states that have done it. 4 rhinos in Indiana were removed because they refused to do redistricting, so that's a good thing. And as well as DEI hires and racist and worthless Democrats have been kicked out due to this redistricting of some states. The fact remains that this is not the cure-all for election integrity. To me, this just to redistrict for the sake of redistricting to add seats is a bad practice. It's a band-aid, like I said. It's a feel-good measure, and eventually it can and will be used against us at some point in time. I mean, actually, it already is. The Democrats in blue states have been redistricting forever, which, excuse me, in the long run doesn't make any sense to me, since they cheat in elections, and so they pretty much have those states locked up. I'm not going to go through them all. So why they feel, like Newsom just redistrict California or tried to, why? What was the purpose of that? They already have a supermajority of Dems in Sacramento, and they ballot harvest up the ass. So made no sense. So districts are broken down into many categories when they do the redistricting, but the primary reason is based on the population. They divide the population up accordingly along county lines and geographical locations. I know in my county, the commissioners, for some reason, I don't know if they were playing catch up from the 2020 census, but in 2022, they did some redistricting of several areas. In one of them, they ran one of the district lines east-west down this road for miles and miles and miles, and then they came upon a little town, and for some reason they decided to go up and over the town and then keep going down the road in the east direction. This was a town with a population on the sign. I know it hasn't grown any, may have decreased, but a population of 31 people. Was it necessary to redistrict to move them into another district? I don't think so. I don't see the reasoning for that. Again, the census is taken every 10 years. Why is there a push to do this redistricting now? Well, I know why they're doing it, to add more House seats or Senate seats. But in the end, does it matter? I mean, honestly, if 535 members of Congress, and let's say we had 435 members of the GOP, super majority. With the rhinos that we have in there now, would it make a difference? the Murkowskis and the Thunes and the McConnells, and so we gained 11 additional seats from what I understand with all this redistricting. Who's going to be put in those? Who's gonna be in Congress that's going to help the people out? Again, to me, this is a feel good measure. It's a band-aid. What we need to do for election integrity is one day, one vote. No early voting except for absentee ballots, military members overseas, and disabled citizens. One day, one vote. Voter ID. Yes, I know the Thune, that piece of dung, is holding holding back the SAVE Act for whatever reason. Whether he's bought off, compromised, just being an asshole for the hell of it, I don't know. But in reality, he's not the only one. How many of our senators are, they could be acting. They could remove him as the leader of the Senate, but they refuse to do it. So to me, we've got 99 senators. Well, not 99. 51, 52, I don't know how many GOP senators we have. 54, something like. Anyway, doesn't matter how many we have. For some reason, they don't feel the need to remove him, even after what he's been doing or not doing. But voter ID is important. Voter ID is important. And if Thune isn't going to do anything about it, if our Senate isn't, if our Congress isn't going to do anything about it, it can be done at the state level. We don't have to wait for the feds to do the shit. We can take care of it at the state level with our legislators that we have in each state. Okay, let's move on. Get rid of all the machines. They are on the internet. I've discussed this before. They're on the internet. They're being the votes are being manipulated by a host of other countries out there. That in itself, with voter ID, that in itself, that would turn things around drastically. Getting rid of those machines. Then if you get rid of the machines, you go to hand counting paper ballots. Now, there's people out there that will try to make you believe a whole bunch of bullshit. And they even say it in my state that hand counting is just more expensive. Just way too expensive. More expensive than using machines. Well, they're wrong. And everybody else in every other state that says that, they're wrong. In this state, we've proved that it's cheaper. And then if they can't use that excuse, then they'll say, well, it just takes too long. It really, it takes too long. So California, let's use California for this example. California has machines, lots of machines, but yet it takes them 60 days to tally the results. They have machines, and it takes them 60 days to tally the results. If you get enough people to hand count, it can be done quickly and accurately and safely. And these, you may have volunteers that will do it for nothing because they feel it's their civic duty. In this state, they can make anywhere from $15 to $25 an hour hand counting. That's pretty good money. They're getting paid. So up until 27 years ago, at least 27 years ago, hand counting was the method, and it worked, and we didn't have the issues that we're having now when we hand counted. So that needs to be done. No mail-in, like I said, No early voting, no mail in except for absentee for military overseas and disabled. Um, Smaller precincts. Um, get with your auditors. You can do that. Clean up the voter rolls. I there. Uh, Tom Fitton with Judicial Watch and Harmy Dillon from DOJ have been suing states up the ass for them to clean up their voter rolls. I know in California, Tom Fitton has sued and has won. He's cleaned up millions of bogus voter rolls in California, and he's working his way across the country. So those, if we do those, um, one day vote, voter ID, get everything in the machines, hand count paper ballots, um, no mail-ins except for absentee, smaller precinct, clean up voter rolls. Oh, results by midnight with a winner called shortly after. Again, one day, one vote. Did it before. Um, if we call the winner immediately, but it stops the Democrats from ballot harvesting. You know, the 2020 election, I've said this before, the 2020 election was one of the biggest, I think the biggest. I can't think of another one. You may know, but I think it was one of the biggest scandals in U.S. history because many people, um, many people across the spectrum, across the country, all the way down to the county level, dropped the ball in 2020. Um, and no one, as of today, no one has picked that ball up and run with it. I mean, I don't, and so I guess this is why we're doing the redistricting. I don't hear anything. I have not heard anything from the RNC, Republican National Committee, about election integrity issues. They bitch about it. They complain about it, but are they actually doing something to prevent this cheating? No, I have not heard anything from them. The GOP in general, not heard anything from them. Not one thing. Me personally, I've sent 6 letters to our lame ass attorney general in this state and our governor. Um, and I CC'd the DOJ on at least 3 of those letters. And I mean, I understand. They're busy. Okay. And they get a letter from me. Big deal. Who am I? Crickets from the DOJ. I've not heard anybody even come out here to do any investigating. Our AG and governor, they're worthless. Pure and simple, they're worthless. Um, I'm not the only one from the state that's informed the DOJ of irregularities and law breaking. Um, there's others, but our AG and our governor, they don't care. They don't care one bit. People at the top, even a lot of our legislators in the state, they don't care about election integrity. And this it's like this across the country. Here been battling for 6 years. We've been taking on auditors. We've been taking on the rogue Secretary of State. We've been taking on states attorneys. I've talked about this till I'm blue in the face. Um, Gone to our legislators, gone to the AG, gone to the governor. Um, try and hire a lawyer, any lawyer in the state, and they've basically been threatened that if they assist any citizen with election integrity issues, that they will be disbarred. 6 years we've been battling this, and nobody seems to give a shit. It almost seems like these people they all got together across the country, not just in this state. They probably got in this together in the county, in the state, and then it broadened out to the rest of the country. But it just seems that they got on this Zoom call and formulated this massive plan to not deal with anything regarding election integrity. That's the only thing I can come up, because they all play off the same game plan, and that is, we're not going to do anything. Even the Supreme Court, I'll mention them. When it came to the 2020 election integrity issues, they didn't want to hear it. Not one of them wanted to hear it. They didn't bring any cases in front of them. Excuse me. Another way to get rid of rhinos, basically something that is paramount when it comes, other than election integrity, but just the fact that we get what we want, we the people. We need to vote in primaries. There's states in this country that, have 20% turnout for their primaries. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. When COVID was going on, we had millions of people standing in line for anywhere from 3 to 6 hours a day, waiting in line to get tested for COVID. But yet they can't take the time, that amount of time or less, to go vote. I really have, when somebody tells me, I don't have time to vote, I really have issues with somebody that tells me that. So vote in every primary. You want to get rid of rhinos. If we're bitching and complaining about rhinos, that's where you get rid of them. If you have a dog catcher that you don't like and they're elected, vote them out. School board elections. We got a lot of issues in this country with school boards. They're all elected officials. Vote them out. Go and vote them out. And I also recommend not to do early voting. Vote on the day of the election. And there again, the excuse comes up, well, the machines are down. Okay. So get with the election supervisor at your precinct or your district and ask them what they're going to do to fix it. Don't leave until you know for sure what they're going to do to fix the problem. Because as we saw in 2020, there was a lot of shenanigans going on and people were leaving, and that's exactly what they wanted to happen. There's along with early voting, we've got a lot of pundits out there and whoever, and they're going to entice you to vote early by saying, oh, the Dems, they're way ahead of the GOP in their early voting. Really? Tough shit. Too bad. It has been proven in 2020, if you vote, and 2022 in Arizona, if you vote early, I've said this so many times, if you vote early, the Dems are monitoring that, and they're collecting the data. They're collecting the number of votes that they will need to go out and do their ballot harvesting. 50,000 people go and vote early in a state. Dems are looking at that. They're like, wow, we need 50,001 to counteract those 50,000. That's what they're doing. It's been proven time and time again. Finally, another way to stop the election cheating, and I think that this would have the greatest impact, is to start arresting people in mass. I know we hear every once in a while that somebody got arrested for voting 50 times, and we got some auditor or election representative that got arrested for some form of cheating or throwing away ballots or whatever. That's fine. Okay, that's good. Get rid of them. But these are just onesie twosies that we see occasionally. Start at the auditor level and work your way up, and start arresting people. The evidence is out there. If they cheat one time and get away with it, I guarantee you that they're gonna continue doing what they're doing. Yes, mass arrests will get the bad people out. It will prevent the bad people from doing anything with our elections, and it will bring the good people in to take them over. That's about all I got. Short and sweet. I have nothing against redistricting, but I just think that there's much more that could be done, and it's not getting done. And the primaries are coming up shortly, and the election is just around the corner. And I don't see any major things happening to correct the election integrity issues other than the redistricting. That's about it. Yep, done. If you would give me a follow here on Rumble, if you watch this video, give me a follow on Rumble. It's free to sign up, and it's free to follow me. I do some posting on. I do have an account on YouTube, and I do some posting on YouTube, but I have to watch out what I post on there because their censorship is totally absurd. With Rumble, you can get away with posting any type of video. YouTube, as you know, that's a little bit different. But if you do check out one of my videos that I post on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, like they say at the end or the beginning or in the middle of the videos. Hit that subscribe button and give me a comment. And it's free. Subscribing is free. I don't collect any money from either of these sites. I just post shit on here and get it out to inform the masses. That's my primary purpose. If I thought I was going to make millions off of this, yeah, I'd probably be like Rush Limbaugh was, or whoever that posts shit on a daily basis. But I have better things to do with my time. Anyway, if you see this sign, this is the international sign of distress. If you see somebody doing this, they are telling you that they are in trouble and that they need your help. If you can safely provide them assistance, do so, because in the end, you may end up saving someone's life. That's all I got, people. Have a good day. Have a good week. Have a good month. Have a good year. Stay safe. Things are going to, as the election gets closer, things are going to ramp up. I'll just throw that out there now. Catch you later.